So hi, I'm Sarah from The Upcoming. A real pleasure to be able to speak to you today. Thanks a lot for taking the time. Obviously, it's not your first rodeo. You've got an incredible track record of creating such iconic songs, for the likes of Frozen, Coco.
I think
But Agatha
we've
All
never been to
Along,
a
quite a
rodeo.
different beast, definitely much darker, playful, a completely different kind of series to make music for. What was the appeal of jumping on board for this?
Well, the show is named after our original song from WandaVision, so we damned if we weren't going to do it. Um, and we love Jack Schaefer, who's the showrunner, and we love Catherine Hahn, the star. She's just a force of nature and so funny and so much life in that woman. So we had to do it. And when they told us what it was, we were just gaga and had to write this ballad.
Right. They sent us the scripts and we were very busy on our another TV show. As we were driving back and forth, I'm the driver. So Bobby would read them and I'd be driving and he'd read all the parts. And I got so excited and so invested that I felt like I was watching the movie while we were driving. I just loved the tone, I loved the characters, and I loved all the secrets that would be revealed.
And what's your starting point when you're working on something like this? I mean, are you reading the scripts? Are you thinking, Catherine Haynes' performance of Agatha, I think, feels very key to the tone, that dark humor that's coming through all the way through the show. So what's your starting point? Or are you thinking of other kinds of songs or music that are in this kind of oeuvre?
Well, the starting point really was taking all the scripts and all of the information that the songs were going to need to contain, figuring out which song were we going to write first, which version are we going to write first. And I started with the hardest one, which was the 70s ballad. And I write in this big bed and I put out like 12 pieces of paper, pieces of paper carrying this information, pieces of paper carrying like the witches elements information, plot points, different moments in each episode. And then I had to kind of like just sit there and think, what would a 70s ballad sound like that could incorporate all of these pieces?
And she also had some music that I had already written,
yes.
because we knew that it wanted to be like a Fleetwood Mac song or like an Eagles song, like a Hotel California. We had a tone, we had a vibe that we were working with, and this was the most complex version of it. It had to have this bridge that was written by this character that we don't even see on screen because of this protection spell that it embodied. So that this was good, and it had to sound good enough to have been a hit in the 70s. So it was a lot of boxes to tick.
Yeah. And sometimes when we're just thinking about where do we start, Bobby will just start noodling on the piano.
Yeah.
And I'll get it on a voice memo and I'll just play it over and over and over again as I'm trying to work out the puzzle of the word. And then we'll go back and forth with each other, saying like, oh, does this sound right? Would you know how to set this? It's a lot of back and forth. Luckily, we're married and we never spend any time apart. So it's easy to find each other and track each other down and work.
And when you see the final product, because I guess, I don't know, you're obviously making the music, I guess, in tandem with when they're shooting it and editing it and putting it all together, what is that feeling like? Because obviously the music is so integral in any kind of film or show, but particularly in this show, the musical element is so, so key.
Well, for this one, we had to write it before anything was shot because there were people singing on screen. So it all needed to be pre-recorded. And so there was we got to work a lot with Jack Schaefer and the team. And one of the great things about it was that the cast was so into it. They were just so into the idea of the coven, and they were all such, women who were just fabulously talented. But there was all this love and all this respect for one another, investment in the idea of magic. And it felt like magic was going to happen on that day that they sang the sacred chant. It just felt like a green flash was going to happen. It was really, really exciting.
Yeah.
Hairs on the back of your neck.
Yeah. The most fun about the day that they sang it, the sacred version, which was the first one they sang and performed, was that they all were coming together for the first time, many of them that day. And so it felt like we were watching a coven form. The other fun thing about that was that the crew members, like the guys who like handle the lights and the electricity, they would come up to us and later and they were like, that's a banger. So they were like, this was the most fun set day I ever spent. So that was really encouraging.
And seeing the phenomenal response to the show, obviously it's landed on Disney Plus. What does that mean to you? And what do you think it is about this Marvel series that does seem to have just chimed with people? I don't know, within the sort of Marvel universe, the fact that it is so sort of playful, darkly comic, female led, there just seems to be a lot in there that people just find quite refreshing and original.
I think that it's speaking to a moment right now. We've all just come out of the pandemic, and WandaVision was about like being in this bubble. And Agatha is about all these people being isolated, trying to heal and find their sisterhood or their coven, their people to move forward. And I think that there's something about that, the joy that we all need, even in dark times. We all need to feel a little campy, a little joyful, and acknowledge like, yes, there's darkness, but there's also fun, togetherness to be had. And I think it holds those ideas together in a way that we all need right now.
Yeah, I think also the character is so surprising. You never really know whether she's going to be sympathetic or kind of a villain. Like, she's got both qualities, and people like being on their toes with her, especially because she has so much wit and brings all that to the character. We tried to bring that to the song too.
And now this one's landed on people's screens. Are you already working on your next project? Have you got something in the pipeline? What's coming next for you guys?
We do. We aren't allowed to just talk about any of them, but we have some animation projects and some live stage projects going back to Broadway.
Amazing. Well, thank you so much for sharing all that with me, and huge congratulations on the music for the show. It's so wonderful, and I'm glad that everyone else is enjoying it as much as me. So thanks a lot.
Thank you
Thank you so much.